we're going to start on part A.
Yep.
Part A is going to require this apparatus. Yep, that apparatus. That side-on test tube. Where's your side-on test tube? Yeah, it's in here somewhere. Yep, side-on test tube. Okay. Now you gotta measure its volume first. So you're gonna take I would just take my thumb. Let me show you. Take your thumb and you're gonna hold it like this. And you're gonna fill this up with water all the way to the top. And you're gonna dump that water in that 25 milliliter graduated cylinder. And you're gonna figure out what volume this contains. So do that real quick. I would take that off. Twist that off, or you'll be squeezing all day. And then make sure you put your thumb over that. You can just sit on the counter. Yeah, you put that on the counter. That's fine. Gotta hold your thumb just like that. Hold your thumb. So now you're gonna take that and you're gonna dump it in that 25. We're gonna figure out the volume of that. Okay, so sit that down and read it.
Can you tell what it says?
It's by twos. No, it's by. Is it by halves?
I think it's.
So 15.
So it's about 17.5, I guess.
No, actually, that's exactly right. 17.5. So the volume of that test tube is 17.5 milliliters. All right, so we got 17.5. So now you dump that out.
Dump this out?
Yeah, dump that out. And then you need to do what? What is it's probably step 2 in your, yeah. You got a graduated cylinder, big guy, if you need a graduated cylinder. Oh, no, that's that one. Never mind. Wrong one.
Fill the test tube to the top with tap water.
That's what we just did.
Oh, yeah.
So for 5 minutes, you want water in it?
So we've already done that, right?
So this should be like 5 mils, and then put your.
Yeah, use a 10 milliliter graduated cylinder to measure 5 milliliters. 2 drops of food coloring.
So,
Yeah, just take that.
This one.
Put 5 mils in it.
I don't know if we're supposed to use that.
Is that it? It's good.
I'd say a tiny. I would probably put my lid back on and squeeze a tiny bit more in there. Wouldn't you say, Fish?
That's good.
the tube is.
Now a little high. It is a little.
Yeah.
It's probably close enough.
Okay. So
So now you're gonna
Coloring.
put food coloring in it. I would probably put the water in the tube first, and then put the food coloring in there. Yeah, 2 drops. And that's just so you can see it in the capillary. Okay, so
And then we
now
put it in here?
I would probably put that in there first, because when you put it in, you want to kind of twist it and get it kind of not
it's
too
harder
tight,
to
but
do
nice
on
and
the-
snug. Yeah. Okay, and then put it in there.
And then we're gonna dump whatever's left. Hold on to this.
All right, now this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna put that, twist that on there. Well, you can put it. I think it says at 5, doesn't it?
Sorry. Should have stapled it.
Or remove from calculated tube.
reading of 5 milliliters. Pass the syringe to the rubber tubing on the side.
And same thing, just a little half twist, get it snug. All right, now start. So now you're gonna go through and you're gonna push that in, and as I push that in, that's gonna go up. You need to get your yardstick. Okay. And meter, put 0 on the bottom and stand it up. Nope, just stand it on the ground, and then you're gonna read the top of the water. You're gonna read the top of that water measurement. So what is the top of that water at?
Like a tiny bit less than 11.
So make a guess.
If it's
That's like 11 point.
is it more than 11? Or is it 10?
It's like 11 point. I mean,
10 point.
10.8.
Yeah, 10.8.
Okay, so 10.8. I'll hold this. You guys perform the experiment. Okay, now it tells you to push it in. Right, what do your steps say?
Okay.
So you filled up the bottom.
Use a scale to meter safety. Yeah, we did that. Push it in about 1 milliliter.
And then measure the height, right?
Yeah.
Then you have to push it down to the last one. On the syringe and then it's on the plate. There you go. That's how
And then read it.
Like 20 point. I don't know, 3.
Yes.
10.1.
Oh, you're talking that
No, no,
level
we're reading
or
the
this
top.
level?
Yeah,
Okay.
that level.
Then it's like 20.3.
Yeah, probably
20.3.
is what I would
Okay,
say.
20.3.
Is this
Hey,
on
just
this
let her
one?
write it down, Cooper. Then you guys can transfer the data.
This is trial one, probably.
20.3 millimeters. Okay.
Maybe 4.
And then that's
That makes more sense.
your reading's now at 4, right?
Yep.
So now you're gonna go to 3, and it's gonna go up to
29.7.
29.7. Going now. This is gonna be 2. Now, as that pressure starts to increase, you're probably gonna have to hold that. Hold that in while she reads it. So are you at 3 or at 2 now, right?
Yeah.
42.4 is what I would say.
Okay, 42.4. Now you're gonna go to 1, right?
Like 52.7.
And 52.7. And then you're gonna go to 0. Don't go off the top though, whatever you do.
It's like right on 66.
Okay, so go 60. I'd go 66.0. Now we're gonna do what? What does it tell me to do now?
By pulling it out more.
So you're gonna go back to 0, right? Now here's what's crazy is look what happened.
It went down.
Yeah, now why do you think that happened?
Try to like equalize the pressure.
Well, yeah, so what happens is all this water in here exerts quite a bit of pressure because it's about the height of the column. So what happens is you've got more pressure pushing down on that column than that rubber is exerting on that test tube. So push it back in and make sure you're at 66.0, and then you'll have to hold it and work it out as she reads it again. Does that make sense? So nice and slow. Okay, and you're gonna get the 0. Are we pretty close to where we started? Yeah, okay, so now he's gonna go out by 1s. You're gonna read it.
Shatter something, sure.
Okay, so we're back at 4, right?
Yeah, we're back at
Wait.
1.
Or sorry, back at 1, yeah.
So that's like right on 53.
Okay, so 1 and 53. Okay. And just keep working your way back. That was 42.6. Now we're back to 3, right?
Is 30.8.
30.8. Okay, then going to 4. Should be right
This
below
should be
that
the
black.
Pretty close.
Scunch that out just a hair and see where it's at on that black stopper. Well, okay, so go back into where you were, and I would just measure the bottom of that black stopper. That should be pretty close, shouldn't it?
Yeah. It's like 20 point. Yeah, 20. Yeah.
20.6.
Yeah.
Alrighty, now here's the interesting part. Look at your values, and you're actually pretty close, correct?
Yeah.
But if you noticed when you push this in really fast at the first, did you notice what happened at the bottom?
There's like
Watch this. And, yeah, what did you notice? Pushing in nice and slow. Okay, nice and slow. Keep going. Just keep going, keep going, keep going. Ah, stop. What happened? There's air in it. Okay. My only guess is that that's the bottom of the tube.
Yeah.
Yeah. That probably doesn't go far enough, but because it's trapped, whether it's air or it's liquid, it's probably going to have close enough to the same volume that you're fine, but that's probably why you're off
It's
a little bit off. Does that make sense? And that's, it is what it is. Yeah, you're fine. Okay, so what's next?
I think. This is report stuff. Yeah, my printer ran out of ink. So.
Okay, so is that all of part A?
Yeah.
That's all the measurements?
Yep.
All right, let me
This is just a report.
see. Can I see that paper?
Yeah.
No, that paper so I can show the kids at home the data. Okay, so here is what your guys' table at home should look like. That's the top. That's the top. Work that down to the bottom, and that is all of the data for part A. Okay. So now we're gonna go on to, you say part B.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's pull this out, rinse it out, clean it up, and then get the water. I'd get the water running right now so it's nice and hot, Fisher. And then rinse, and make sure you rinse this tube out too so you get all that wind out of there. Just use your thing, and then use the bulb to blow it out. Where's your guys' bulbs right there? Hey, again, use the hot water for part B, and then the ice is over there in that big tub. Okay, she's just cleaning up, getting all that green food coloring out. Okay. And actually, Kim, let me see that. Alright, so there's that. So now, oh yeah, we gotta rinse that out. Crank that up one more. Okay, rinse that out good. Okay, so now we're gonna do part B, right? Part B is gonna require hot water and your syringe, correct? Alrighty, so let's do that. So, and your thermometer, and that's plenty hot, I think. So, read it up and let's do it.
Put enough water into a 400 milliliter beaker to come about the 5 cc.
So measure that to 5 cc, pull that out to 5 cc, and then stick it in there and just see how high you've got to get. So if you went to 200, you'd be plenty, right? Yeah, so then take your hot water and fill this up to 200, and then get your thermometer out and we can measure it.
Okay, so we'll just start pulling it out now.
It doesn't have to be exact, fish. Just anything close. All right, now thermometer that sucker and get that syringe in there. Then you can let it go. Just let it sit there. Okay, now read it up and see what it says.
Thermometer?
No, I meant read up the instructions. Let's figure it out. And just let that sit and come to kind of a good temperature.
Our temperature is about 40 Celsius. Says
Set the plunger of the syringe to 4.5 milliliters cc and put the syringe tip down into the beaker of warm water. Hold the syringe under the water, don't let it float for at least 5 minutes. The test tube holder works well as a clamp to hold the syringe.
Okay, so this is what I would do. Take and put that, and then stick that so it's
move this down.
either way. Now is that about 4.5 fish?
That's pretty close.
I would just let it float. Sit that down, and then just rest this right on top of it, just like that.
All the way up.
Put this into the water.
So what we're doing is we're trying to get the air in that syringe to come to the same temperature of the water. So in a few minutes, after they say 5, you're going to be at 40. Read that and see what the temperature of that water is.
Oh.
It's all right. It's still in there.
46 it looks like.
46?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So just leave that in there now. Let's read on and see what we've got to do. So the temperature of the water is 46 degrees, which is ultimately, after a few minutes, going to be the temperature of the air inside the syringe, right? The warmer the air, the bigger the what? What are we after here? The warmer that air is, the higher the volume. As that air cools down, the volume is going to go down. Does that make sense? Okay, so we're waiting our 5 minutes. What's going to be our next step? Fish, you can probably turn that water off now.
Keep the syringe underwater and carefully pull.
You gotta read it out loud so these guys can.
Keep the syringe after 5 minutes. Keep the syringe underwater and carefully pull the plunger back until water enters the syringe barrel. Then push the plunger in carefully until the water is even with the lowest mark on the syringe barrel. At this point, note the location of the plunger in the syringe.
So you're probably going to take the two differences, and that's going to give you the volume of air you have in that syringe, right?
Also, this reading, estimate to 0.1 milliliters, is the air volume in the syringe. Measure the temperature of the water bath. Estimate to 0.1 degrees Celsius. It is also the temperature of the air inside the syringe. Record the volume and temperature of the air sample in table 8.5.
So by the time we get there, we're probably going to be pretty close to 40 because the water's cooling off, and then that'll be the temperature at which we'll try to make those adjustments. Does that make sense?
So pull it out by half.
No, 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 no. Where'd Brian go? Oh, okay. Say what?
I said that's not a lot.
No, there's not.
It
This
does
is
seem like a lot because there's
Yeah.
like 4 reports for A.
Jenkins. Jenkins.
What?
Did you cut your hair?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
A long time ago, but
Really?
yeah, like during Christmas break.
Well, how many times have I seen you since Christmas break?
I don't know the last
Once.
week. Yeah, you're right.
So,
You're right. You're right.
trying to be all observant. And any ideas? You weren't timing this.
It was about.
It says about
that,
5
like-
minutes, right?
Yeah, I mean, this was about 9:30ish.
So maybe one more minute, then we'll go.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Okay, now I get a lot more ice to get here. Actually, not like a ton, but like I'll get some. You're so funny. No, Andrew, you're hilarious. I think you're funny.
All right, that's close enough. So, what step are we on?
5.
Okay, so you got to hold that so it stays under the water the whole time. And let's just move this over here. Okay, so what does it tell you to do now, Fisher? Didn't it say to suck a little bit
Yeah,
in?
it says just to suck it in so that it's reaching like the very bottom line of it. I don't know how
Below it until it's even with the low syringe mark on the back.
No, we just get us for we just never
I don't know, that looks,
Actually, give me a second.
yeah, that looks pretty close, I think.
Okay. So what's next? So we pulled the syringe out. So now there's water at the bottom of the syringe, right? And that air in there is going to be at 41.1 degrees. So now what we're going to do is going to be at 41.1 degrees Celsius, right?
Yep.
Okay, so what's our next step? So what you'll need is you'll need the top measurement on the syringe and then where that water is. So is that water at 0 on the bottom?
Yeah.
So water on the bottom is at 0. The air, what's the top of the syringe? 4.8 cc. So 4.8 cc's. So yeah. What does it say to measure it in? What is that?
This is
The heading at the top.
Oh,
Yeah, what is
milliliters?
milliliters? So they're the same thing. So 4.8 milliliters. All right, and what's next, Fisher?
Sample temperature is 41.
41 point, what did I say?
At 41.1.
41.1 Celsius. All righty, so now what do we do next?
Without removing the syringe from the water, cool the water to about 30 degrees Celsius by slowly adding small pieces of ice.
So say that again.
So add ice to get it to 30 degrees Celsius.
Tub's right over there, go grab some ice. So now, we're gonna cool this down. Okay, so as we put ice in the water, it's then gonna suck the heat out of the air, right? Now, we've already talked about this, that as air cools, it's gonna do what? That was rhetorical, I know nobody can answer. It is going to shrink. So just start, so what I would do is, whoever adds, she's gonna hold that fish, and you add the ice and measure the temperature. And to go 10 degrees, you're probably gonna have to add a few pieces. And then can you read the temperature? Because we're gonna have to get that ice to melt.
It's like below, a little below 40.
It's below 30?
Below
No,
40.
it's a little.
Oh, below 40.
Yeah.
Keep adding ice then.
More.
Now, how are we gonna know that the air is shrunk, you two? How are we gonna know that the volume of the air has gone down?
The volume of the syringe is going to be
Yeah,
lower.
so the water, it's gonna suck as that air shrinks. It's gonna suck more water up into the bottom, and I think you can already see that,
Yeah,
can't you?
I can see it coming up. There's more water in there.
Where are we
already.
at temperature-wise, Fish?
Like 33.
Yeah,
30
you're
degrees.
close to 30.
So maybe one more piece of ice.
Hopefully.
See, all we have to do for C is write it in
It's not going down. Oh, it's so close.
Oh, I know. It's
I was
like
gonna say
right
one more
there.
ice.
think that's it.
There
It's
you
like
go.
30.
Yeah, I would
It's like
say.
31
Okay,
-ish.
so now you got to
That's
read
like
that
30.
the number on the bottom of your syringe.
Yeah. It's at like point.
0.6.
Yeah,
0.6.
Yeah, I would say point.
So you went from 0 to 0.6. So it lost
0.6.
over a half a milliliter, right?
Yeah.
That's how much that air inside that tube shrank with, what, 11 degrees?
Yeah.
Almost 11 degrees. That air shrank almost a milliliter. Okay, so then what's next? Do we keep going cold?
Yeah, I think so.
Fisher, what's next?
Allow the syringe to remain in the water at this new temperature for 5 minutes.
Oh, so it might shrink even more?
Yeah, no, I like made it big.
So I guess I think the biggest change you'll see initially, I mean, it might lose another 1/10 of a mil.
Yeah.
Repeat steps at 20 degrees Celsius, 10 degrees Celsius, 0.
Okay, so you need to go get more ice. I just fill it up. Okay, and so I'm hoping to see a trend, right?
Yeah.
So if at 30 it lost 0.6, at 20 degrees it's probably going to lose 0.2 or 1.2, right? If we see that trend. I think that's what they're trying to get you to see is that comparison of what happens. What if we let's do this. You guys see that? Hey, there we go.
What am I supposed to put right here though? Because the
Sample
stopper
volume. So
doesn't-
so that's what we need to figure out. So you're going to subtract off. It was 4.8.
Yeah, so you're just gonna.
You're going to subtract off that new reading. So that new reading was point what?
It was 0.6.
0.6. So we're going to be 4.2, right? Okay. And then we're going to add. So I would say it's probably good enough, Fisher. Let's start adding more ice. Let's get that in the middle. Let's get this in the middle a little more. Yeah. Just start adding ice, and then we'll have to add ice until.
Did you notice what did you guys get for C? Those two things are C0.
Good color.
What's the matter?
Have food coloring.
Oh,
He's just rubbing food coloring in his eye.
we like those guys that dye their whatever that white part of your eye is. You ever seen that?
Yeah. It's
People tattooing their 20, 40-ish,
Yeah, it's
23-ish.
I was worried for a second. What did it say? That was a report.
Where are we at now?
They're like 23.
What?
It's like 23 to it.
Oh, so a couple more pieces of ice probably.
Yeah. It's close to 20. Right there.
Is
I
it?
think that's, yeah.
So you drop one more in.
I think you let
think that's
this
good, yeah.
this stuff on top get melted. I think you're gonna be pretty close.
Okay, so
Alrighty, so now you're gonna have to read
pressure
where that
in.
the volume. You're gonna have to, oh crap, sorry guys. Read the volume.
The bottom line
Point.
is 0.8.
Yeah.
0.8 now.
So the temperature is 20.
So temperature's at 20 degrees and it's at
It's at point.
Or with 0.
where are we going? 0.8?
Yeah.
So 4.0. So that doesn't look very linear, does it?
No.
Because it changed by 0.6 the first time. Now it's only changing by 0.2, right? That's Let's let it sit for a second, see if it changes much. 'Cause it says, what, 5 minutes? So you're exactly 20 degrees right now. That's as 20 as you're going to get. So,
Oh, just have to come up on this bad boy. Right. So we'll just have to fill this up really high.
okay, hey, all it's got to do, just pull your syringe out to 5 and see where it's got to be. Because on ours, 200 mils was plenty.
Okay.
That's why I don't have bigger test tubes, because my syringes aren't that big. Or I mean bigger beakers. That makes sense?
Okay.
Yeah, yours is a tall, skinny one, so you're all right.
Okay, we need to get the water hot after.
Alrighty. Why don't you check that fisher and see if it's changed at all?
And then yeah, so
No.
No?
fill it all the way full. You gotta plug it.
So I think we're probably pretty close. So now we're going to go to 10,
Yeah, then put your rubber.
right? So I would say just keep adding ice over there. Yeah, it's going to cool it off.
You know, now you take it out again.
It'll get harder to get colder.
I like your tabs, my friend. I love your tabs. I love them. No, I'm not gonna close them. I'm just gonna go like this so we can see it, so like we can turn it off before they.
Adjust our syringe to.
Where are we at?
About 15.
Well, you gotta take it off.
This?
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually so smart.
Are we moving it all in the syringe down there?
A little bit.
Just a little.
I mean,
I interested in
it's tight.
so I totally open and close like the same like 5 things every day. You can't let it fall.
It's at 13 now. That does.
We're going to run out of rain. Let me suck some of that bottom warmer water out. You know what I'm saying?
Also the temperature of the air inside the storage.
I should do some
It's so close.
Close. It's super close.
Yeah, it's cold. You making any progress down there?
Yeah, you're like close to one now.
It's at 10 now.
10. Okay, so at 10 degrees, we are at
It's like a little sideways. At 1.
Yeah, one.
So we're 3.8 now. And then the last one is 0.
Yeah, so
Okay, that's easy.
Right, the one at the bottom should be the warmest, shouldn't it?
yeah, you think.
Because the ice is on the top.
And that will go in sample volume.
Oh, we have to do it at the end, huh?
Hello.
So once we know what that is, after we pull it in.
Now they want us to get to 0. Now, think about that. Are we ever going to get to 0? No, we're probably going to get close. So, in fact, let's do this, Fisher.
Like we want it to have an air bubble.
I'm going to suck several of these out. I want you to dump. 'Cause, right, 0 is freezing. Right? So there's no way we're going to get this to 0, but that water that's in there is going to be as cold as the water because it's from over there, right? So if we dump that in here, that should get us about as close to zero as we're gonna get, right? So just dump that whole thing. Let me, one more.
Don't want to go.
Yeah, I don't want to overflow.
This is boring.
Okay, now. Okay, so dump that sucker in there. There you go. And then I say we let this sit a few minutes, right?
Yeah, and see what else.
And that's gonna
It's
come
already gone
right
up.
now. Right now.
Oh wow, that went up a lot.
Did it?
Yeah.
So maybe we weren't patient enough on those others. I guess we'll know. Let's let it sit. I mean, we're not going anywhere, right? Let's let it sit 5 minutes and see how low it'll get. And then that'll kind of gauge us as to where we're at, right? But yeah, you guys can see right down there at the bottom, you can see how much air or how much water has been sucked up. So the air in that syringe. Weston, you need something?
I just forgot my chemistry textbook.
Oh, okay.
So I came back and grabbed it.
So as that air is cooled down, it's shrinking, has a smaller volume. As it does that, it's sucking water up into the syringe. By knowing how much water's in the syringe, I can tell me how much volume I've lost on my air. And right, wow, yeah.
You have to put the rubber topper in and twist it so it's tight. You just put the
No.
I'm gonna guess we're probably gonna get down to about 3 or 4. As cold as we get. About 4 right now. Okay. Yeah, we got a few minutes. Let's let it sit and see what happens.
Should we hurry and like do C?
Where's it looking at? Can you see that, Fisher?
1.8 over here.
Wow.
That went up.
Yeah, so my guess is we probably should have been a little more patient. I don't know. We'll see.
Where's the volume of the water remaining in the testing with carefully
What was the next? I need to get water into it at the lowest mark. So leave it in the water.
And then you push out or you do
You have to pull and get it out. Just get to a mark where we can mark, see where the like what's the thing at? You know what I'm saying?
it's still for C.
Single volume.
Where's my beak?
You don't have it?
Oh, this is where this is.
So do you want to get some ice real quick?
There it is.
We're down to almost 2.
Dang.
Where are we at? Volume wise.
Still about 1.8.
So I guess if we see that it stops moving, we're probably pretty close, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, you can see it jumped. And that's almost a full,
That's like a full
milliliter.
one.
yeah, that's a full CC. So maybe, yeah, maybe we needed to be a little more patient. You know what'll be interesting is let's do these readings, and I'm gonna put that into my calculator and do a linear regression, because in theory it should be linear, right? And see what it says.
There's a graph on the back.
Oh, there is. You're gonna plot it. Oh, perfect. Then never mind. So when you plot that, I think you'll notice that this point and that point, yeah, and yours is gonna go a little bit like that because I don't think we were patient enough. That's all right. Don't you need it? Why no? But we need 2 for the girls tomorrow, right?
Yeah. I just put today's on here too.
I would, and then that way you don't have to
It's like 3 days. It's a little less than 3 days.
Maybe just got one more picture. It's like 30, little bit.
That's cold. Sorry, you were gonna get it that cold. I don't think it's gonna get that much colder than that though. So that would probably be 2.8 if it's 1 milliliter.
I'm gonna hurry and go do something.
Okay.
Alright, so now we're gonna go. 5 minutes to drop some food there.
At least it's not hard.
No, we're doing it again. But we're doing it in a different temperature.
It has been kind of fun.
It says, but like if you push it more, it's kind of like not.
5 apparently.
Make sure all water has been moved.
Wait,
Change the water.
have you guys done part A yet?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just a little confused. On which part?
Well, like, you know how it says it was 5 times?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
The other 4?
Okay.
That's what you're wondering about?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you do it, you have to pull this back out once you've done the 5. So like you push it in to do the 5, and then you pull it out for. Oh.
You need 4
No,
different
you
measurements.
can
To
have
see
it.
if
We
it's
just had to
different
get
or
some
if it's the same.
Alright.
Okay.
Just the plunges you were
You don't have to go all the way out.
All the way to 4.
Oh. No, not all the way to 4. Like, you know how you went in 1 milliliter at a time? Oh, so what is it?
Oh, we went all the way to 1.
Oh, okay, so just go back and measure at like 4 and 3 and 2.
Okay, wait, so then.
So you need 5 total, so you need 3 more. So I do like 4, 3, and 2. You don't have to erase all that.
We're right now getting like the 30-degree. We have 3 minutes on.
What do you think about Did you finish C already?
Yeah, you have to write down 3 things because you already
Okay,
did it.
do you want to copy this down and then B? I just wrote it down. It hasn't changed much.
I figure.
The temperature has gone up though, so I don't know how the temperature has gone up, but it did.
Alrighty, where we at? Did we read it?
We're still
So we
at
got to 2,
No, we're still at 1.8.
but I'm saying,
Oh yeah, we got to 2, and then it started going back up.
oh yeah, that
so-
makes sense. Alrighty, so we're done with that.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so now, so that one's done. Is there anything left for that one?
Nope, that should be
Alright, let me
it.
see that.
That's all the data.
Alrighty, so here is the data. Here's the data for that. Okay, you got to finish that chart and the graph at home. Alrighty, now we're over here. Right? So that's all part B, correct?
Yeah.
Alright, so here comes part C. Now, hey, you guys, as you do part, is anybody that hasn't done part C yet? Everybody over there's done part C? Okay. Alrighty, so alrighty, so what you gotta do is that's the hydrochloric acid side. This is the ammonia side. You can clearly see that big white fog in the middle. So what you gotta do is you gotta find where you think the middle of that white fog is.
Okay.
And then you gotta measure from there to the middle, and from there, right at the tip, right to the middle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then that's the values you're going to use in that formula they give you in the book to do that calculation. Okay.
Okay.
So do that and get us some measurements.
So this side is the HCl.
That side's the HCl,
Okay.
and you tell that yellow. So I would determine
Start
where I think
here.
the middle is. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then start
So,
there, and
I
it's
don't know,
just
like right
and that's the
there.
beautiful part about this is that every kid.
It's different.
Well, but that's what I want, is because that's part of doing a lab is seeing where
Yeah.
some of that error is. Because this would be the greatest place for error, right? Because everybody's going to read this a little different. Now, you want me to tell you what I would do?
Yeah.
I would do this. I would take this and I would find just where the white starts and where the white ends, and I would simply find their what? Find their average. You see a little bit of mathematics there, right?
Yeah.
Because what's happening is that stuff is moving this way. This stuff is moving that way, right?
Yeah.
The lighter it is, the faster or slower. Faster, right? So clearly, if you look at this tube, right?
Yeah.
That white stuff is clearly over here more, right? That means this is the heavier molecule,
Yeah.
right? So find the middle of that, and then we'll measure from there that way, and then from there that way. Okay?
Okay. So that's, I don't know, the end is at like 16? 16.5? I don't know. Over here. That's
Maybe
true.
that's
17.5? What do you think? That works? Should be 8.7.
And then what I would do is I would read it off of this where 8.75 matches up, and then measure it from there to that spot, and then from there to the other spot. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it should be like pretty close
like
to 38.
at 38.
Yeah.
So you're going to go
We just-
38, so then you're going to
The end
from
of
the
this
very
stopper to
tip.
38.
Yeah, very tip of the cotton ball to 38, and write that down.
So it's like, I don't know, 17.78?
17.65.
6.5?
Or 7, I guess.
Okay, so 17.7.
7.
Now remember, it's demarcated to 7. So I need to guess one, right? So you think it's exactly 7?
No. Well,
Well, that's fine. I'm just saying if you do that, then it's really going to be 17.7 what? 0, right?
Yeah.
Because you can guess that last digit to get you a 4 sig fig.
yeah, it's like on 0.7.
So go 17.70. So the hydrochloric acid traveled 17.70 centimeters.
Yeah, that's
Okay, and then you got to measure the other way.
So do we have to flip this
Yeah, you
around?
can do whatever. And put it right on the end of the cotton ball. And go to, what was your guys's, what did you consider the middle? 38.
So like right.
So then you're going to read that.
So 40. It's like right on 40.3, I think. 40.43. What do you think? Do you think that's right? That's 38. So it's like right there.
44.
Yeah, 44 point. I think it's 3.
44.29.
Okay, so you're going to go with 44.29 to get that extra sig fig. So we will go 44. So the ammonia traveled 44.29 centimeters. Okay, so you've got your ammonia traveling 44.29 centimeters. You've got your hydrochloric acid traveling, what was the other value? 17.70 centimeters. They're the two values you're going to plug into that equation during the write-up to do that math. Does that make sense? Okay, what's left?
That's it.
That's it. Did you write all that down?
Yeah.
And that is what, well, yeah, because you put it on the end.
Yeah.
So, this doesn't matter really.
Yeah.
All you need is that.
Is just the.
Yeah, all you need is this. Yeah, all you need is that. That's fine. Okay, you guys done?
Yeah.
Okay, clean up. I'll get this uploaded. Just a reminder, guys, that grades end. Hey, everybody needs to understand that grades end on Tuesday. I have several of you missing a lab or two from this quarter, and I still think there's a couple of you that owe me a test. You have until Tuesday to get it done.